called forward to the spotlight seat Vicar Kyle Ronchetto. Give him a big hand. And accompanying him is his fiancée, Kayla. And so you can see her and him. They're going to be married here on what date?
August 7th.
August 7th, 2020. So we're going to encourage, yeah, that's right. Woo! And I encouraged Victor, I said, well, you know, if you get your wedding band, you might want to just put like August 7th, just engrave it on the inside. And then that way, when I say, hey, what's your anniversary again, he can just kind of go like, August 7th. Right here. So, one thing to note, and I was asked to point this out by a youth minister that's, I don't think here right now.
Shall remain nameless.
Who shall remain nameless, a youth minister here at Emmanuel, who we will not point out. But he said, please note the matching red tennis shoes. Okay? So Kayla and Kyle, Kayla and Kyle have the red. They're ready to run, right? Ready to run through life together? So we're going to have... We have a couple things that are going to go on today. We have some reminiscences that we'd like to share and see if anybody else would like to take the mic just to express their congratulations or maybe a favorite story or some words of encouragement. Also, we have him in his role from the Godspell musical. He's going to sing a couple of songs for us today because he was the lead playing our Savior in that musical. We've got some door prizes to hand out and some other special presentations, so we got a lot to cover. Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, there we go. Okay. I wonder if they were still taking a nap after that.
It was a pretty big meal.
So, Kyle, what we do each time we have the spotlight on Vicar is we contact Mom and we ask for any stories from childhood that are humorous, or yeah, you might want to have a seat for this. And you can sit right over here by it, you know, from childhood that she wants to share. And sometimes some of these are pretty interesting. Okay, so we'll intersperse these. This is from Vicar's mother, Charla Ronchetto, and it says some memories that we have of Kyle from his childhood. Please see if you remember these. When he was 2, maybe, I took him to a Mexican restaurant and ordered him a bean burrito. He's already laughing, right? In order to cool it off, like a good parent would, I tore it in half. Kyle started screaming and telling me to fix it. Full meltdown mode in the restaurant, which is every parent's dream situation. And if I remember correctly, I had to get him a new burrito since I couldn't fix the one I broke. So there's the first reminisce about the burrito meltdown. Remember that?
I don't remember if I've heard the story several times.
Don't know if it really actually happened, but that's what she said.
Oh, I believe it.
Okay, there we go. Well, you know what? Georgie Ann's here, and would you like to go ahead and serenade us with the first of the selections? So, and I know that Kayla's got some things that she needs to do. She's going to be with us till about 1, and then she's going to have to excuse herself. So maybe we'll be done by then, maybe not. But should be good. Well, they can hear you.
All right, floor is yours.
So Ann asked me to just give a quick overview of the show for those who aren't familiar with it. The show is Godspell, which is, the way I describe it is it's a creative retelling of the gospel. Our performance of it took place kind of in a New York City junkyard, although different performances have taken place in all sorts of different settings because the setting isn't really important to the story. The story is about the life and teachings of Jesus. So in the show, I was playing the role of Jesus. One of the parts of that show is, of course, that we're not wearing period costumes, but instead I was wearing a Superman outfit, and a lot of the other people were wearing mismatched clothes or kind of almost looking clownish. We had face makeup on, and that's really to get across this idea that the people who follow Jesus, when the rest of the world looks at them, they look like fools. And that comes all the way from 1 Corinthians, the opening chapters, where it talks about the wisdom of God is foolishness to man. And so, I picked this Superman shirt. It's one of the traditional Jesus costumes for the show, but it's a little bit silly. Bright colors and red, but it also really does get across that idea of Jesus Christ being a Superman and being, as one of our directors said, the S is for the Son of Man and Son of God. So that's a little bit about the show. It goes through the life of Jesus, ending with, of course, the crucifixion, and then during the bows, I was able to run back out, so we got the resurrection there, because that's a pretty important part of the story as well, even though it's not part of the script as such. So I'm going to start off, and Georgiana's going to be playing for me. I'm going to start off with it's not the opening song, but it's the first song that Jesus sings in the show. The opening song being "Prepare Ye the Way of the Lord," and then when Jesus arrives, when I arrived on stage, this is the song that the show opened with. When wilt thou save the people, O God of mercy, when? Not kings and lords, but nations, not thrones and crowns, but men. Flowers of thy heart, O God, are they? Let them not pass like weeds away. Their heritage, a sunless day. God save the people. Shall crime bring crime forever? Strength fading, still the strong. Is it thy will, O Father, that men shall toil for wrong? Oh no, say thy mountains, no, say thy skies, man's clouded sun shall brightly rise, and songs be heard instead of skies. God save the people. Save the people, O God of mercy, when the people, Lord, the people, not thrones and crowns, but men. God save the people, for thine they are, thy children as thy angels fair. Save the people from despair. God save the people. God save the people. God save the people. There's one more song that we're going to sing, and actually I'm going to sing through it one time, and I'm going to invite you to join me if you're familiar with it. It's pretty easy words. It's the song "Day by Day," and it's one of the other songs right at the beginning. But it was, if I remember correctly, it was fairly popular in the shortly after the show came out in the 70s and maybe on into the 80s as well. So some of you may have heard it before, just possibly. I know that was a little before most of your time.
Good one, Victor.
But I do want to say one thing about the songs. A lot of the songs are actually based on hymns. From, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the Episcopal hymnal. So some of these, one or two of the songs also appear in our own hymnal, slightly different wording, But so these are, for the most part, hymns, and so that last song is one of the hymns, and then this song is also based on a hymn as well. So it's a song Day by Day. Day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, love Thee more dearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, follow Thee more nearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day. Feel free to join in. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, by day, by day, by day.
Thank you, Vicar. Yes. Did a very good job, didn't he? And I quote, "We had another full meltdown with the food incident. This time at home, luckily," she writes. "Kyle had asked for pancakes for breakfast one day. Easy enough. When we set a pancake in front of him, he started crying and saying that he wanted pancakes. We tried in vain to explain that these were pancakes. He cried that he wanted the other pancakes." Now, these are her words. "He's practically hyperventilating while crying, trying to explain what he wanted, that these weren't it, and that they were wrong. We finally realized he wanted waffles." You know, I forgot to go to the store. I was going to get some Eggos and present those to him. But I just thought that was cute. He wanted waffles, not these pancakes, the other ones with those little square holes in them. You know what time it is, right? That's right. Now, Victor, we know that they love you and they wanted to come here and have the spotlight. Oh! Yeah. Put that one back in. Merle? No, I'm just... But you know, the other reason they like to come to these things is because of this moment right here. The great door prize drawing. So here it is. Well, they're just flying out everywhere. Aren't you glad, Norma and Donna? Don't worry, guys, you're still in there. Maybe this basket, I think I shouldn't shake it so hard. Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Victor's going to have the first straw. We have 3 today. And the lucky winner is...
Joe Pfaffenberger.
Joe! Wow! Joe, you get one of the door prizes. No, not this one. learned early on to compromise in their play. In their play, he wanted to play games where they were on opposite sides, battling against one another. She wanted to play on the same side, battling an imaginary opponent. Frequently, the play ending in screaming and crying when Kyle would turn on her as a double agent. One game that I found to be particularly sweet game in a warped kind of way was when they would play the family of death. Kyle would be Daddy Death, his sister would be Mommy Death, and the other toys would be the kids. So turn on the sister there, right? Yeah, that's right. All right, and we got a couple more here. I wanted to ask if there were any folks that would like to, at this time, we'll share the mic today. It doesn't have to all be these stories, but is there anybody that'd like to come up and just say some encouraging words or words of thanks or a reminisce from his year among us? Anybody want to come up to the mic? Come on.
I don't want to come up. I just want to say we are going to miss him so much.
We're going to miss him so much from Monroe Haber.
You're bored and you're just great. You're going to be a great pastor.
Going to be a great pastor. We'll second that, right? That's right. We are going to miss, we hate to give our vicars up. And you know, in some regards, this has been a really odd vicarage year when you think about it. You know, kind of coming into this whole pandemic thing, something that I'm sure Kyle would have never thought he would be experiencing along with us during this vicarage year. But you know, I'm glad he was here to go through it with us because he did a wonderful job of preaching, joining us in the hymn sings along with Matt and Pastors Rodriguez and Blumenberg. And so maybe, you know, there's some real practical things that you can take with you if it happens again in your ministry during those years. You kind of have been through it once now.
Hopefully some practical things, even if it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. So, and then I think it's accelerated that year a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't had the opportunity to gather here in worship also, so it seems like it shouldn't be ending so quickly here next month. But we look forward to his going back to the seminary, one more year of study, and then the exciting day of call day. And that was all different too this year. Vicarage placement service, call day, all done digitally, virtually. And so maybe it'll be good to be able to gather back among the people of God, you know, with family and friends. Hopefully we can be there to celebrate with you next time. So, other comments? Anybody else? Raise your hand from where you're at. I know he's been involved in a lot of things. Yeah, I am.
Well, it's been my pleasure and our committee to, as I said earlier, to work with Kyle this whole year.
Yes.
We've learned the many talents that he has. And in getting him to come to this today, I had previously asked both he and Georgiana to perform at our main meeting for our Jackson County retired teachers. And he's so highly thought of. Georgiana over here said, I'd like to do anything for that kid. So that shows you, you know, the spirit there of camaraderie. And then I think you had a few musicians lined up that were going to play. It was going to be a really great show, and then it was canceled.
Right.
So today's show is not quite the same caliber, but it's still.
But you could do it.
Yeah, we could do it. And it's just been months of adjusting to a new way of living. And
right.
So we appreciate it.
Yes.
But I do want to thank him, and I know I speak for different people in here who have continued with Holy Hops that was created
Holy Hops
last year, and this kid really prepares. I mean,
yes, he does.
Whatever the current topic is, he's done his research, and he starts off with his research, opens it up to questions, and then we have an exchange, and it's usually on something very current. And it's good to be able to exchange your views with people that you probably don't see much during the week, and you know, and get their slant on things. And so we appreciate his giving up his time to do that. And it's been interesting to all of us. And then you form new friendships.
Right.
If anybody's interested, we do these on the last Thursday of the month over at Poplar Street.
There's the commercial.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vicar's he's done a great job with the live nativity. We remember that Vicar Werner kind of put it on paper, but Vicar Ronchetto really kind of put flesh and muscle to it, and actually planned and coordinated it here this last December. So he did that, Holy Hops, and then Operation Centurion Shield for our military members and members of our community. So he's, and much, much more. There's a lot of stuff. Bro.
I just want to say, Kyle, you're good working with people, and that's a special blessing from God. That He bless you with that.
And he's got a good radio voice.
He's got a good radio voice. You can tell he's got a good singing voice.
Yeah.
And a good face for radio, too.
Yes, he did. I have the best face for radio. And we appreciate Georgianne coming and playing today as well. And I know she worked with him a lot, so.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I think I said this when I played for you at Christmas, but I'll tell it again. I was asked to sit in on the auditions for Godspell, and the first night we had mostly older gentlemen come, and we didn't really have anyone young enough to be Jesus. The second night, this guy no one knew came into the room there, and he sang for us, and I'm just like, ooh, that's good. And then we had said, well, do you have a monologue prepared? And he said, no, but I can tell you a parable. And we all sat there and went, I think we have our Jesus. But I agree with what everyone else said. Anything during Godspell, well, as I said, most of it's based on, almost every bit of it is based on Scripture. Right. And as we went through Lent this year, it was amazing how our Scriptures and our play went together amazingly. But Kyle could tell us exactly where those Scriptures were from, and we needed a shofar to blow
that's right.
horn, and Kyle had one. So we were really, really blessed with him, and we will miss him. So yes,
For sure. But thank you, Georgianne. I know you worked a lot practicing.
yeah, we had a good time. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
And that shofar, are you going to use that at the wedding? Right? No.
Not
Jay,
if I want the wedding to go through.
instead of the bride, bridal processional is, no. Here she comes. Here comes.
It's a battle cry.
It's the battle cry. All right. Here's another reminiscence from Mama Charlotte. Kyle has always had an insatiable curiosity about the world. In grade school, the students in his class each chose a different species of whale on which to write a report. Kyle not only wrote his report, but researched the other species as well. In junior high, he created a PowerPoint about Norway just for fun and shared it with his class. The other students all wanted to know if they had to do that also. Well, I think that says something. Ann had mentioned before, and Georgianne too, how well prepared and how well read, well versed in Scripture. And it sounds like Kyle's always been a person to put his effort into and do some careful research. And not just to do the minimum, but to kind of go above and beyond that, to continue to learn and grow. And I think that's, I always see him at his desk at his devotional time, or when he's working on his sermon and he's doing his due diligence. So, and it shows. He's well prepared, well read, and confident in his presentation, because he's done that work, that hard work, ahead of time. We got some more hard work to do right now. Kind of open it up to show us the Superman. And so we appreciated the little sharing. He comes prepared. Let's put it that way. He comes prepared. But yeah, we've heard a lot of good compliments about his work with children. And I know Matt's here. He also works with our older youth, young men and young women from our congregation, the youth group. So I know that Kyle's gotten to know some of them personally, and you can tell by the reaction of those students to him that he's got a relationship going on. And I think with Merle's comment about him having people, relational skills will serve him well as a pastor. That's very important to be able to interact and listen to and then converse with and encourage. So he's done a great job. He's been a model vicar, so we're going to miss him. We also had both Kayla and Kyle had recently hosted our new vicar-elect and his fiance, Will Fredstrom, and his wife Charlie. And they're going to be getting married here. So they're going to get married at the end of vicarage. And our incoming vicar is going to get married just before he starts his vicarage. So, but we had an opportunity to meet them. They're excited. But Kayla and Kyle played great hosts and hostess and taking them to the vicarage mansion, we call it over here. And and also the tour of the church and the community and enjoying a meal together. So we will miss the character and the caliber of the person that we have, and we pray that will follow in his footsteps. Carry on, right? We've had some good ones.
Yes, I think all of them are good.
Mama Charlotte, ready? Kyle has the ability to see that larger picture and to make connections between his experiences. It's true. When he was 14, he and I were in the play. Now you see where he gets, the acting. They were in the play together with Mom, To Kill a Mockingbird together. It was also Girl Scout cookie season. One day on our way to rehearsal, he and I stopped off at a local shelter for abused women to drop off boxes of cookies that had been donated to them. I was explaining to him in the car about how the shelter was necessary for women who didn't have anywhere else to go for help in escaping from an abusive home situation. He said that it was too bad that Mayella Ewell, a character in the play who was abused by her father, didn't have a place like that to help her. So again, larger picture and able to make those kinds of connections. Pretty cool, huh? Perceptive. How many plays were you in with your mom?
With my mom, I think I was in 3 plays with her.
3 plays.
Yep, I was in
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. I was in Annie Get Your Gun.
Annie Get Your Gun.
And Cheaper by the Dozen.
Cheaper by the dozen. There you go. Cheaper by the dozen. Isn't that great? Always remember those times. He always will, and I know she will treasure them as well. Let's go to drawing number 3 and final today. But don't worry, come back to these in the future, and you might be the lucky winner. But the third and final choice today is...
Lois Burkett.
Lois Burkett. Where's Lois? There she is right there. All right, let me bring her in. Yeah. Lois, I wonder what you're going to get. Anybody have any guesses? Anybody? Lois, what is it? Hand sanitizer?
Paper towels.
Paper towels? Oh! What do you know? It's a trifecta. A trifecta of toilet paper. Here we go. Yeah. Big winners today. So, like I say, come back and the next roll might be yours. All right. I know we also have, I believe, a kind of a special presentation of something for Vicar and Kayla today. Would we like to call upon our good quilting friends here, Norma and Wayne? They're going to make a presentation now. Of course, our quilting group meets upstairs. They usually meet on Thursdays. They sew all kinds of quilts and all kinds of different patterns and colors. I couldn't begin to tell you how many they've done. And one of the traditions is that they always like to present a quilt that they made for you guys. So Kayla, if you want to join Kyle up here, this is a little early wedding gift, it looks like. And I'm going to let you, are you going to talk? You guys got a few minutes? We'd be about 2 o'clock, okay? Just kidding, he's a good guy.
Usually Norma does this, and she's letting me do it this year because he's kind of special to me a little bit. Back when my wife had her hip replaced and that, he came out to the house. When you're talking 50 years difference in age, you would never know what between us. I mean, he is...
He's that much older than you?
It's hard to tell.
This man just turned 25, what, a week and a half ago?
That's right.
I got grandkids older than him. But he has been one special boy to me and my wife both. We've had some good conversations at my house, at the church, and we sure appreciate it. And I know he's going to be one good pastor. And I think the boy can do anything he wants to do. And, so the quilting group every year presents a quilt to the vicar before he leaves. This quilt here, I made the top myself. The backing was done by the quilting group upstairs. The outside was sewed by Norma just a week ago or so. But we present this to each vicar each year, and we hope you enjoy it. And here is a card with it. And you have to open this to see it.
It looks like a pillow, but it's a pillow.
It's got an opening here somewhere.
All right. I think
Yeah, right there it is. This design here is called
There you go.
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister design. Twisted Sister. Yeah, get a picture of that one, huh? Got it? Ooh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? There you go. And on the back it says, made by Emmanuel Lutheran Church Quilting Ladies, Seymour, Indiana, 2020. Wow. There you go.
Enjoy that with your viewers.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, for what you've done.
Thank you, group. That's wonderful. Very nice. And it looks like Norma's here
I got a
too.
little bit of something here. I don't need the mic. I can talk about
Okay.
it.
No argument.
I make these all the time for the nursing home, and I want to give you guys one.
Cool.
I call them Afghans, but some people call them lap throws.
Lap
You
throws.
can use it however you want to cuddle up and keep warm when it's cool of an evening or something, you know. Just use it with love.
Thank
And
you.
good luck to both of you, and here's your card.
Wow. That's awesome. Nice. How long did it take to make these?
At one of them, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I just do it part-time, you know.
2 weeks with love.
Yes, yes.
And how about the quilt?
Oh,
How long?
If I work on the top half, I could probably do it in a week. It's a lot of cutting and putting together on that type quilt right there.
All made, handmade, stitched, put together, and presented. And we thank you for that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. Some early wedding gifts, right? Early gifts. Beautiful. And if you want to, I know your time is, you need to leave. You want to take those with you? Take them. He went to the state park to play a game with some friends of his. I told him to text me when he arrived. Well, being 16, of course, he forgot to text. It's always a good time when your mom shows up while you're with your friends to make sure you are okay. He always remembered to text whenever he arrived somewhere in the future. And then she says, I hope this event goes well for Kyle. So we appreciate her colorful stories. You know, it's a mom's recollections that really make these gatherings special, so we appreciate her input there as well. Anybody else? Because I know it's buttoned up here at 1 o'clock. We're going to have our devotion and a word of prayer and then the hymn on the back of your sheet. So if you have your half sheet, you might turn it there, where you'll see Kyle prominently displayed along with his Superman S's. Probably easy to find that side, right? Just look for Superman. Okay. Anybody else? The mic is still open.
I don't want to say anything, we just want to give him something.
Oh, here comes Ann. Oh, she's going to give him something again. Yay! Oh, boy. It was great that Kyle could join us for
I'm
that.
glad Kayla could be here.
Kayla, yeah.
With lots of love and affection and appreciation, this is from the people in here and from the adults in the ministry group.
Thank you.
Cards and monetary gift. Thank you for your generosity too.